Since late last week, the rumor has persisted a deal would be made between the attorney for
The seriousness of Brenda Spencer's crime meant that although only 16, she would be tried as an adult. A deal was struck. By pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon, she was given 25 years to life with the possibility of parole. But by pleading guilty, Brenda gave up her right to a jury trial and the opportunity to tell her side of the story.
She's very scared. She's very uncertain for her future. She's, I was almost in tears there beforehand. I think it's just an unbelievable event that occurred in her life, that the enormity of it and the horror of it will never occur again. I had no fear that Brenda would hurt me or members of my family.
She would not be one that you would think.
She was never a violent person. I mean, never beat up on the kids in the neighborhood or anything. Always very loving and caring. And then all of a sudden, she does something like this. It's hard to understand.
When the parents divorced, things sort of went south then. She lived with the dad. The dad was a sort of very bitter man. He sort of hated the world. The mother, on the other hand, sort of became like a stone herself. I mean, it was like she never went out of her way to go over the kids, to have a relationship with Brenda. So it was a very cold, sterile environment in both places.
And I don't remember her palling around or being, friendly or in any way with any of the kids in the class. You wouldn't know what was going on, Is it just, Brenda, are you awake?
She had opened fire approximately 36 times across the street, about 150 feet away, and had 11 hits for an accuracy of about 30% or just higher than that.
I think she was probably a pretty good shot, yes. I think she was probably a pretty good shot.
And where did she get the weapon?
I believe her father bought it for her for a Christmas present.
He buys her a .22 for Christmas with 400 or 500 rounds of ammunition. I mean, it's like, hello?
But I sure am not one to blame someone else, unless her father was covering her hand with his and making her pull the trigger. I'm blaming Brenda, no matter how weird her family was.
Before the current parole hearing, the only insight offered by Brenda into the shooting came in the form of a brief but bizarre interview she gave in 1993. Brenda claimed she was hallucinating at the time of the shooting, even though her toxicology report showed no traces of drugs.
I was watching TV and I started drinking whiskey and taking pills with it. And I was smoking marijuana with PCP. And I started hallucinating. And when I'd look out, I'd see like commando guys in combat gear and stuff coming up. I think I was trying to get myself killed.
That interview did reveal the first and potentially only clue to her personality when Brenda offered her only description of life in the Spencer household.
After my parents got divorced, it was like the latchkey kids, but it was like complete neglect.
Brenda's father has never spoken about his daughter's childhood or the events of that Monday morning in 1979. Wallace Spencer has never given an interview. While out in San Diego, we discovered he still lives in the house from which the shooting took place.
Strange that he still lives in the same house.
Isn't that strange?
Oh.
It is very strange. He must really like being alone.
And then, while we were filming the school, Brenda's father suddenly appeared. But as soon as he saw the camera, he hurried back into the house. Brenda's defense team believes that away from the Spencer house, she has become a different person. In prison, she has proven herself a model inmate, and she even has a potential career for life on the outside.
Do you think you're going to have trouble finding employment when you leave?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because I have marketable skills.
What kind of skills do you have? What would you like to do upon release?
I'd like to drive the forklift.
You'd like to drive a forklift, what you're doing right now?
Yes.
From the moment that she was taken away from that home, Miss Spencer has thrived. She spent the last 26 years of her life improving herself, not just to comply with the board's recommendations, but to gain marketable skills and to try to ensure her success once she is released.
Well, the fact that she's done so well
Whether it
in
be
the institution, I think, speaks volumes about her. If Brenda was an out of control, dangerous person, you would have seen more evidence of that in the last 20 years.
Maybe she goes to the bathroom on time, washes her hair when she's supposed to, and walks down the hallway without harassing somebody. Fine. A model prisoner does not a citizen make.
I want to say the human side, the compassionate side says, let's let her out. 27 years. It's time to go. The police officer side, and of course the retired police officer side, says, hey, let her die in prison.
What would be your reaction if she did get parole next week?
I'd get my guns out, I'd put them back together, and I would load them. And I would start carrying a weapon again. Because I think if she got out, she tried to finish the job.
Do you remember much about what occurred?
Not a lot. I'm sure I did it. I just don't remember everything in sequence.
Do you remember the shooting itself?
I don't remember the shooting itself.
You don't?
No.
All right.
I don't remember it, but I'm sure it happened. I'm sure I did it.
The only way of finding the way back to a 16-year-old girl who started shooting on that Monday morning in 1979 was to do what no one else had managed to do: speak to Brenda's father, Wallace Spencer.